Okay, let's continue talking about nomenclature, and we'll finish talking about nomenclature today. We're going to focus primarily on acids today. Um, Acids for us will always contain a hydrogen atom, one or more hydrogen atoms. And this isn't to say that all acids contain hydrogen or that all molecules that contain hydrogen are acids. But for us in Chem 101, all the acids that we'll come across will contain hydrogen, even though that's not generally true. Um, so we're going to start with a question first. Is a molecule binary or ternary? So again, remember binary means two elements. And one of those elements obviously will be hydrogen. Ternary is three or more elements. And again, there will be hydrogen. Then there's usually going to be oxygen and then some other element. Okay, but if we're naming a binary acid, we have another question that we have to ask, and that is it a gas or is it aqueous? If it's a gas, then actually we just name it as a binary covalent compound. And we learned how to do that in our previous lesson, so we already know how to do that. So for example, if I had H2S, there I have two hydrogens, and if this is a gas, I name it as a covalent compound. So the name would be dihydrogen, di for two, monosulfide, mono for one. And again, sometimes the mono is omitted, but that would be the appropriate name, dihydrogen monosulfide or dihydrogen sulfide. Now, if it's aqueous, then we have a new way of naming. And the name for an aqueous binary acid is hydro blank ic acid. Hydro for hydrogen, blank for the other element. Remember, it's binary, so there's two elements. Then ic acid. So, for example, a very common acid is HCl aqueous. Hydrogen gives me the hydro blank ic acid. The other element in this case is chlorine, so I put chlor in here. And not chlorinic, just chloric. So just the first part, just the stem of the element name, hydroblankic acid. All right, so that's it for binary acids. Ternary acids, we're going to have hydrogen and then a polyatomic ion that has at least two elements in it, and the name is going to be the ion name with a new suffix and then plus the word acid. And the way that will change the suffix is if we look at if the ion name ends in "ite," then we'll change that to us acid. And if the ion name ends in "ate," then we'll change that to ic acid. So, for example, let's say we had H3PO4. Well, you have to recognize that in H3PO4 is an ion that we've memorized. PO4 3- is the phosphate ion. So it ends in 8. So instead of phosphate, now we replace the 8 with ic acid. So H3PO4 is phosphoric acid. So the 8 from the phosphate becomes ic acid. By the way, notice the ion is 3-, and that's why there are 3 H pluses in the 3 hydrogens need to be added. We could do another example. HClO. Well, hidden in there, you see a ClO-. That's the hypochlorite ion. Ite becomes us, so this would be hypochlorous acid. You don't throw away the hypo. You still need the hypo in there. You only change the suffix, not the prefix. All right, and that's it for naming acids, and you'll get some more practice in the question below. Let me do one last addendum, though, on nomenclature, and that's the nomenclature of hydrated compounds. Hydrated compounds are just compounds that have a specific number of water molecules that accompany them in their crystal structure. And the name is just going to be the molecule name, and then plus a number prefix for the number of waters, and then plus the word hydrate. Okay, so for example, let's say we had BaCO3.3H2O. So we need the molecule name first. So I look at this and I see it's ionic because I have a metal, barium, and I have some nonmetals with the carbon and the oxygens. So it's ionic because I have some from each side. So I have to give it the ionic name. It's also ternary. So I just need the metal name and then the anion name. And I don't need a Roman numeral because this is in the second column. So this is just barium, no Roman numeral, carbonate. And I know it's carbonate because I memorized that carbonate is CO3 2-. And then I have 3 waters, so that's trihydrate, where tri is the prefix for the number 3. All right, that's it for nomenclature. Enjoy answering your questions below and on your homework.